Vous avez peut-être eu du mal à trouver du beurre dans les rayons frais ces derniers jours. On commence à en manquer dans certaines régions. C'est le cas notamment dans ces rayons vides de supermarchés de Rennes, de Caen ou de Paris.
Could be the lack of butter due to a secret policy from French government. Officially, it's due to butter producers, which have been surprised by the increasing demand from Asia. So prices started to rise and supermarkets refused to pay. But what if it was another explanation? Let's take a look at facts. But firstly, consider one thing. Could this lack of butter be a conspiracy led by both Ministry of Health, supermarkets and producers of margarine and sandwich? We made a deal with the government, so please use margarine in your receipt. Margarine! I'll talk about everything. I'll talk! But I won't let you do this.
Fuck! Listen, I'm aware of the government new policy to eradicate obesity. I mean people with nuts like that. But we can't do tasty meal without butter. So, what do
Jesus Christ, there are different actors. First of all, I want to talk about the supermarkets. Today they sell more margarine than ever, and they don't want to sell butter anymore. Therefore, they are making huge stocks of butter, and that makes the price rise. More importantly, this strategy fits perfectly with President Macron's secret plan to reduce the number of fat people living in France. If they don't sell butter, the number of fat people will simply decrease. To illustrate that, I will give you a simple fact. In 2016, under Mr. Hollande's presidency, 1 ton of butter was worth 2,500 euros. By today's standards, it's worth 7,000 euros. That's much more. This rise is not linked to more important demand or something like that. I mean, it has been multiplied by almost 3. That's the proof that Macron's plan is to reduce the number of fat people living in France, and that's quite a scandal. What's more, butter producers, are telling us they haven't reduced their production by any kind, and yes, they are still making as much butter than 1 year before. The specialists, some specialists predicted this crisis, but surprisingly, nobody didn't do anything at the government to counter it, just because they are behind this crisis. Such government, maybe in the government we can find people like Benoit Rouget of the CNTL that say the responsible of this crisis are the distributors, but when we ask the distributors like Carrefour and Auchan, they say the fault is from the agricultors, but as I said it, the agricultors haven't reduced their productions. That's quite strange, isn't it? So there's a real strategy to hide the real responsibles of this crisis. It looks obvious that the real responsible are an anti-fat lobby led by President Macron, and President Macron is backed by the franc-maçon. For example, you may have seen during his presidency, you may have seen President Macron making speech in front of the Louvre pyramids, and pyramids are a symbol of the franc-maçon, as they like triangles, etc. So that's quite obvious that he is responsible.
For years, governments has raised taxes concerning sugary and fatty foods, and unfortunately, butter is not an exception. Indeed, government claims that they want to reduce risks concerning health attacks, diabetes, but the real reason is to reduce the population of fat people, killing them. Figures we have tend to prove it. Indeed, in 2008, 65% of these products were considered as health-friendly, but now these products only represents 8% of the market. Moreover, we assisted in a deeper rapprochement between margarine and sandwich producers and industrials with Emmanuel Macron, the French president. Indeed, these producers were Indeed, these producers were received 3 times in December, only 2 months before the video, and their work was good one because the part of the margarine in Senju on the market haven't stopped rising for years, from 1% in 2003 to 13% last year. Moreover, butter consumer lost a great ally in the person of François Hollande, the former French president, who was a real defensor of butter. Indeed, he considered butter as the flower of the French gastronomy and never accepted deal with this kind of producers of margarine in Sandu. And now, let me talk about the worst part of this complot, the link between Guyana, Google, and the butter. For years, former fat people claimed that they were sent to a secret camp in Guyana and that they succeed concerning escape. During its history and for centuries, France has sent its disturbing people in Guyana, and apparently this is still the case. The strangest thing is this employee of Google who was sacked after publishing pictures of Guyana on Google Map. We managed to get this image and we show this to you. The conclusion is clear. The camp exists and it's working while I'm speaking, dealing with that people.